What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to the channel. So we're jumping back into solo leveling Arise content, and we're going to be talking about the Hunters and Sun Jinwoo as they make up the core framework. Now I want to make you guys aware about something. If you're free to play inside this game, do not focus on the Hunters so much as you focus on the weapons that they get. The problem is that you're going to be very limited in gold, especially if you're not investing in some of the things like the activity funds and the hunters passes, things like that, where you're going to basically be getting more gold than what is normally in a game. And if you try to invest in too many hunters, you're going to spread yourself really thin because there are a lot of gated mechanics inside the game to leveling up your hunters and Sun Jinwoo. So let's talk about some of those first off. So let's start off with Hunter Sun Jinwoo so we can explain what's going on. Everybody's going to play as Hunter Sun Jinwoo. We know this. He's the main character. He's the reason why we're all here. But you're going to have to do a couple of things, and these things are going to be gated basically inside the game for how you play. So you have a number of things that you got to level up, starting off with your strength, stat, vitality, agility, intelligence, and perception skills. So for Hunter Sun, you can see what each of the characters basically you're going to scale off of. You can see here he gets additional AP, blah, blah, stuff like this. You know, that's essentially what he's given. But he's going to scale off of his strength stat. I hate this little loading screen that they have here. He's going to scale off his strength stat and then his perception. So you want to kind of make sure at all times that he's staying high inside those. So that way you can get your precision up and then you can get your attack going inside the game as well. Next up, where you're going to see a lot of your damage come from is going to be from your weapons. So there are a couple of weapons inside the game that I particularly like that I tested out, and so I started leveling them up. And that was the tome that we had here, the Thetis Grimoire, and then the Moon Shadow Blades. Now, I remember when he had the Moon Shadow Blades inside the manhwa, and I absolutely loved them. So I was like, I really want to have those as well. Now, the really good benefit about the tome that I really liked is that the tome enabled him to basically deal water elemental damage, but it allows him to freeze a target. So it's really, really good as well, like just because of that on the face of it. So what you're going to be required to do is you're going to be required to level up these weapons as you play. And that's where things get really tricky, right? Because you're going to be getting multiple of these, or you may just get one of these, but you know, depending on your luck, you know, individually in a game, you'll get more. So you either have to advance these so that way you can get more power damage. So you can see here, like advancing it to level 1, level 2, it's going to basically, we've seen this system before, right? And each one is going to increase the water damage on this by 10%, for instance, right? You're also going to be required to increase the item, so there's an increase on the item at every individual limit break. So there's one at 20, there's going to be one at 40, there's one at 60, and so that way you can then get to your max level for that weapon at 80. Those limit breaks are going to require items, and these are going to be like these ice melding cubes is for this one. So you're going to basically have to play dungeons, and specifically dungeon breaks, or you're going to have to go to like the weapons material exchange shop or the crystal mega shop, and you'll get these items from there. And you'll see like sometimes you'll get some of these little bundled items, and you can basically choose which ones you want. So no point in me using the 8 right now, because guess what? I don't really have those basically to max out on that anyway, so I might need to use it for other characters. The other items are going to be like these design little items right here, and each of them are going to be different. So like this one is specifically for precision, so you'll have to get them from the dungeon break, or you have to get them from the materials exchange shop here. Now the way you get these from the material exchange shop is you can see here for like 900 of these bars up here, you get these traces of dimensions. They're raw materials for processing weapons that have lost their use. So basically, as you salvage a weapon, then you'll get these items. So for instance, if I was to go in here, obviously I'm not going to salvage any of my SSRs, but I could salvage maybe some of my rare weapons, for instance. Like realistically, I don't know that there's a reason for you to use rare weapons, but let's say we salvage just the one inside here, right? So I'm gonna salvage some weapons now, and I just want to salvage like one of these swords, right? So I'm gonna salvage this, and you notice that I'm gonna get 30 of these traces of dimension, and I'll also get these weapon enhancement gears from these. Highly important. Now, depending on how you pull weapons and where you gain these, you'll instantly get a whole lot of this. I was very happy to see that we had a big, robust inventory inside of here. So that's one way that you could go about purchasing those items basically inside of the exchange shop. And you'll notice that it looks like it's really expensive, because that's like essentially, you know, they're asking for like 900 of these basically to purchase like some of these items inside of it. You know, at 30 per, you know, you're gonna have to be doing a lot of salvaging, so be careful for those. Outside of that, you also have the mana power imbued casting, which is also from salvaging, but these are going to be salvaged from higher level items, so just be careful about which higher level items. I haven't salvaged any of them as of yet, just because I don't want to run into like, hey, well, this weapon was actually better than what it was, as I'm testing things out and just playing with things. But I do like the play style of being able to use the grimoire and then basically being able to use these. I am trying to work towards getting the bloom weapon, but we'll see where that goes. So you can see here I have basically a weapon in slot 1, slot 2. So that's how you're gonna have to level those weapons up. It's gonna be important that you keep leveling those weapons as high as possible. Outside of this, you're going to also have Sun Jinwoo's levels as he goes up the ranks. So you're going to start all the way down the same way he did in the anime as an assassin, work your way up to Night Lord, Necromancer, and Shadow Monarch, essentially come around at the same exact time. So you're good there. And then all the way up to finally when you get to the Monarch of Shadows, the rebel leader. And you see here, you'll have to have, like, you know, him at 70,000 power. He has to be level 55. And then you also have to complete the story chapter 8 on hard to basically unlock this, but you'll get the cool little uniform over here as well. And you'll get bonuses for each of these stat levels. I think right now it was just like 30 and 30 for each of those, so I'm going to imagine that's going to continue on. Now, outside of this, you're going to have to build Sun Jinwoo by also leveling up his skills. So this is going to really be dependent upon your play style and what you like. So like for instance, for me, I really like the way that Death's Dance played, so I leveled up that skill. I love double slash, basically throws out like a spinning the dagger spinning in a circle. I really like that. The skills also have different rarities on them in terms of whether they're DPS, break skills, or ultimate skills. So for instance, I'm using this one as a area of effect type skill. I throw that blade out there. It's pretty good. I use this one because it's also an area of effect as well, but it does break damage. So whenever I run into an enemy that has a bar of like shielding that needs to be broken, this skill is basically used for that. You have other skills in here that can do the same thing, like Crushing Blow has a break on it. I just didn't like the way Crushing Blow was. I didn't do it. You have like Multi-Strike in here that also does break, but I just didn't like the skill. He basically just punches targets and stuff like that. Now, the most important piece on this for you to notice, outside of equipping the skills that you're going to use, is the runes. So you're going to unlock these runes through dungeons and so forth like that, and each of the runes have a different modifier or effect on that particular skill. So if we were looking at this one, for instance, right now I have the rune right here, Full Moon Wheel, and I think that's the name of the rune that I have on there. And then you can see what this is basically doing to basically change up the level of the skill. Now, if I was to go over, you can see like Multiply is a different skill over here, and you can see the difference rewards. You also have tiers of these runes. So the runes will come in like rarity, they'll also come in epic, and they'll come in legendary as well. And that will change the total damage, power output, and so forth like that. Now, the runes can be acquired through normal gameplay, or they can be acquired for play to play inside the store as well, but they're really like chances at getting the rune. So you might not get the epic, you might not get the legendary rune unless it's a guaranteed pathway to it, but you're essentially trying to level up these skills as much as possible. So here you can see like this is darkness obliteration. This is one of his ultimate skills, and then we have another one, truth mutilate, to do another different skill, and it's going to basically be dependent upon you for which one you use. So like for instance, you can see here this is the equipped skill, darkness obliteration. He's dealing 3282 of Jinwoo's attacks over 60 seconds. I could use truth mutilate. I just kind of like the way darkness obliteration happens, like just kind of like, yeah, that's just like the way it looks. Like this is just my thing. So that's how you're going to basically be leveling up Sun Jinwoo. At some point I will unlock the blessings, playing through the story and hitting more gates. Basically that's all it is. So you're going to be leveling these characters up, and it's important because the game is going to present you gate points inside of the story mode, that you basically have to hit these benchmarks to progress and move on. Just what it is, man, just what it is. Now you do have the ability to set 3 preference points down here. You can see 1, 2, and 3 for Jinwoo, so that way, you know, at any time you can basically play for those. So that's skill. The last thing that you're going to need to be aware of is artifacts, and artifacts are basically armor pieces that you gain from doing encore, I think it's encore missions, that you basically gain from doing like encore missions and gates and things like that. You'll have the chance at basically getting these items. They all have set effects, which will increase, you know, varying stats and so forth. And then you'll also have the acquisition of accessories, so like your earrings and, you know, your rings and everything like that will basically be in here. And then you also have to level these up. These also have gated systems inside of them, so at one point you'll use this kind of rune, and then the next point you'll have to use that kind of rune. And these things do have fail ability. So like, yes, I can go into enhance a system and I could literally fail at enhancing the system, and those stacks basically keep between each of the different things. So here you can see I have a 25% enhance rate on this one with a 5% increase on that one. But if I was to look at like my chest piece and I was trying to enhance this one, I'm at 24% and 4% over there. So I've tried to do some playing around with this where like, hey, I fail stack almost the way I do in BDO to see if I get a higher fail on the other one and then come back down to the other one, is it going to guarantee me like anything? But it just seems like it's just core to that individual one. So just be aware of that. And you're going to have to grind out those enhancement pieces. You can see here you have little enhancement artifact chips, and then you have gold as a requirement for those as well. Trust me, you'll use a lot of gold. So those are essentially all of the systems for Sun Jinwoo for you to level him up. Next, we have the hunters. Okay, so these are the characters essentially that you're rolling on. You're rolling on the ability to get the hunters for the characters, and you're rolling on the ability to get Sun Jinwoo's weapons as well, from the custom shop and from the cash shops, so the limited rate up shops. So for instance, Cha Hae-in is the current hunter that's in there. She's a beast. So go ahead and make the pulls on her if you can. Outside of that, I think 2 of the other characters you're going to want is Emma Laurent. I think that she's probably the best character to have in the beginning because you can level her up. She does great AoE type damage and is just phenomenal. I was lucky enough from the customs to get Choi Jong-in. He's a decent character in terms of DPS, but to be quite frank and honest with you, just not my play style. Like, he's kind of cool to look at inside there, especially with his outfit and uniform, but it's just, I don't know, it's just not my thing. So that's just what it is. It's just not my thing. And then Seo Ji-woo is another character in here. A lot of people have basically been telling everybody re-roll so that way you can get this character because she's going to be there late game for you to basically utilize. You're going to need her for the late game in terms of farming Cerberus. He is a hard boss and you're going to want water attacks. That's the reason why. And she's one of those characters, if you notice in here, of the SSRs that provides water attack and is actually good. So you're going to want her for that. She is got good skills as well, and you do have to level up Hunter's skills as well. So you can see here, this is like her base skill damage. You can see here that her basic skill attack over here has break on it. You can see her basic skill here has break as well, and then she has special skills as well. So she's a good character overall. I would still suggest in my playthrough so far of what I've liked and the way I play, that Emma Laurent was more of a priority for the early game for me than she was, just because of the side chapter clears, not the main mission clears, but the side chapter clears, and then some of the other things. Her ability to just do AoE and crash through areas greatly helped accelerate the game. That's just the truth in my opinion. But you get to choose how you want to do this. Like I've gotten, for instance, Silvermane Baek Jinwoo, and I like the character, but it's just not my type of character. So you have to level up the skills on the characters. These characters also require you to acquire artifacts and equip them. And now you want to be particularly mindful of the recommended stats for characters. So for instance, here we have Emma, and she has HP, defense, penetration, and fire damage. So when you're equipping gear to her, you want to make sure that those stats are the things that are going to be, you know, like, so if I get like a primary stat that's HP, I want to make sure that that HP is going to be equipped to her, especially if it has like penetration or anything like that. You want to make sure that you're doing that, because the stat bonuses that you're giving to those characters will affect their overall power levels and how they play. So like she's another great example in Seo Jinwoo, where her recommended stats is HP, crit hit, and crit damage. So all the gear pieces that I've tried to give to her were HP, crit hit rate, or crit damage, because she's not going to basically scale off of any of the other stats as well as she would those. So pay attention to those. Pay attention, especially when you're choosing missions that you have to do. Now, so we've got artifacts, we got skills, and then finally all of the characters do have weapons that they basically want to have. They have their artifact weapons. So for instance, you can see here Chahae-in, she has an event going on inside of the event shop where you can get her sword through basically like making pulls on her and so forth like that, and making ways around the dungeon. So let's take a look at hers, for instance, right? So I still have the same thing where I have to level up this and upgrade this system. And you can see her weapon utilizes different melding cubes, and it also uses different designs inside of here. So you have to be paying attention to those. It's also important that you level those up so that way you can hit those next limit breaks on the character. This is highly important. So for instance, I'm going to limit break her weapon here. And you can see that limit break increases me up to the next maximum level. I then have these items inside the shop that are going to basically allow me to basically level her up. So use those as you see fit, because you can see here it's going to use them across the board. That's 76 of my weapon enhancement gears from there. I'm not going to level her up just yet, but we'll do that limit break. As you collect additional swords as well, or their artifacts, then you could actually increase those. So you can see increases the user's basic skill damage and the critical hit damage by 3% for 12 seconds. So you want to pay attention as you're leveling these up, because they're going to affect your stats, similar to the way you advance their normal characters. Because if I go back, you notice that Chahae, excuse me, Chahae also has the ability to advance. These advancements are going to change the way that a character plays in terms of how much damage they have. So you see the dancer effect can now stack up to 5 times at the first effect, right? So if I advance her basically inside of here, you see that number jump up essentially. So I've advanced her, and now the support skill is leveled up. I've unlocked the passive. The dancer effects can now go. So now the next one is going to increase her critical hit rate, which is directly going to impact her stats. This is important, right? Highly important, because that's going to beef up that character a lot, right? So now I'm getting stats on stats on stats for how that works, and that's going to go directly in her. Now you see at the 3rd level, when attacking a branded target, increases the skill damage of the dancer of swordlight by 50%. So you see how infinitely more powerful the characters are going to basically become simply from doing those. Here you can see the next stage is basically the user's critical hit damage is increased by 16%, and we'll see what the other ones are. I haven't unlocked enough of her yet to basically advance her. Okay. So that's essentially how you're doing those things, and the same thing is going to be done for the swords. You then also have the advancement for unlock the advancement of a hunter, basically for their power up when you get them to level 40. I haven't got any of my characters level 40, but I have seen how it works overall. Now, how do you get items for characters that basically don't have limited rate ups or summons? Guess what? They've given you a system. So for instance, here with I was really loving Emma Laurent, for instance, right? And so I've got her weapon, Night Hunter Thoughts. This is her specific weapon inside of here. It's Emma's exclusive weapon. You want to have each of the characters exclusive weapons. So that's why I'm saying focus on certain characters that you like after you see their playstyle. What you want to do is you can go down here to the craft section, right? And inside the craft section, the game like has such the weirdest loading times, to be honest with you. Like it's just load. But if you come look into the section, so for instance, with excuse me, Jesus Christ, with Cha Hae-in, she has an event going on where you could acquire these items, the design items for her. So like there's a dice event, and so basically you'll earn dice, and as you go around the board you'll unlock these. Now I had already unlocked her weapon over here, so that's how I basically got that. And then you'll notice that you have the dice event, which is going to allow you to go around the board, and I basically can craft another weapon because I'm going around the board. So now also inside of here, they have the event for you to basically go up and basically do the rate up celebration for the character. And I guess I didn't know I welled out this much because I didn't realize, but essentially inside here you have this event, and you notice that there's shops in here for melding items. And now I've gotten another additional copy of her sword to basically advance her up. You can see what the missions are here, basically to get rank up points inside there. And then you can see what the rank rewards are for basically leveling that character up. So 10 of these total enhancement chips basically, which is not worth it, to be honest with you. And then you can see the overall rank inside here, which is like 2 of these skill scrolls. Not worth it. And 200, it's not worth it, guys. It's not worth it, trust me. Totally not worth it. Totally not worth it at all. And you also have an event shop basically inside here where you can purchase more things to basically get more rolls or level up Emma specific, or excuse me, Cha specifically inside of here as well. Totally up to you whether you advance inside that or you choose not to, but it's a way for you to earn additional advancements. So now I can craft this, so that way I can basically get that additional sword as well. So now I have 2 enhancements that I have for her Sword of Light. Now, any of the hunters that you pull on from the rate up events, you can also craft their weapons. So for instance, I'm using Emma Laurent right now, and I basically came in here from acquiring the fire and mana power crystals. You can get them from playing the Battlefield of Time. You can get them from the weapons material exchange or the mana power crystal selection chest, and that's going to now allow you to basically select the weapon and basically level it up. Now the one thing is that you do have to have these hunter exclusive weapon designs. This is why I'm saying to you, you need to make sure that you're paying attention to the characters that you are choosing to level up, and don't try to do all of the characters. Find 2 to 3 characters that fit the way you like to play, because you'll be rotating through those characters when you play side chapters, dungeons, and things like that. And you want to make sure they're characters that you like, so that way you still enjoy the game. Now, the source for these is basically weapons, right? You can get them from disassembling weapons. You can get these from playing the Battlefield of Time, or you can get them from the weapon material exchange shop. And they're a limited resource, to be perfectly honest. If you were to look throughout the game, they're not like in abundance. So make sure that the characters you're choosing to play are characters that you have those with. Now, like for instance, I know that a lot of people weren't like, well, I don't really want to get Choi Jong-in because it's not really worth pulling on, not Choi Jong-in, excuse me, I'm lying about what I'm saying. I wouldn't really pull on box character for the Howling White Tiger Soul because his item's not available for free in anywhere. Well, it's available sort of for free. I mean, you know, you could craft it basically and get that item from there. Completely up to you, you know what I mean? But that's essentially what you can do. And what you're trying to do with this is maintain those power levels throughout the game, so that way you are getting the best benefits. So for here, we can see, let's go into her weapons. And so we can see this is hers. So from here, I can like level up this weapon basically from using one of her equipped skills. So there you go. I can register that one, and basically it's going to level it up to the next level. You can see this as basically advancement, increases the basic skill by 8, gives me more critical damage inside there. And I've now advanced her weapon inside there, increase the basic user's attack. At the next level is going to do pretty much more of the same. So I can just basically select another one. If you don't have to do this at any, you know, like just you can do it all at once, basically, if you just selected all 5 of them, or if I selected all 2 of them, basically. And so those are the benefits to basically leveling up a character. We've seen these in plenty of other games. You know, it's a gate lock basically on skills inside the game. So just make sure that you're locked into those. Now, how you choose to play with your hunters and choose how much you want to invest in the game is completely up to you. I'm not trying to tell you check for your pocket, but I can tell you right now it will get pretty expensive because they literally gate a lot of the systems in the game, and a lot of it is literally paid to convenience behind paywalls, especially once you pass like chapter 10. So if you see people past chapter 10 at this point, like, trust me, they're probably paying and investing something in there, or they're min-maxing to death. So just be aware of that. I was having a lot of fun with Chahae. I like the way her skills look. I like the way she plays. Really cool. Some of the characters do come with different uniforms. So you can see here, Cha has a different uniform. I don't plan on equipping this shit. I don't know why. That doesn't even seem like Chahae to me, this uniform, but whatever. Yeah, so those are the characters basically in the game on a whole. This is the hunters and how you're going to build them. They did release a developer's note to say that they are going to dive more into like hunter guilds and things like that in the future to basically branch out on the content that we have. So I'm just dying to see how that's going to look at. Remember that Cha is one of the limited characters in the game. She was a limited pull, so she's likely to be way more powerful. To be honest with you, she's very freaking powerful in the game. Worth having, worth pulling for sure. I'm trying to advance her to as much as I can, but I think I've petered off, and I've hit my limit for the month on what I'm willing to spend investing in the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Guys, do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me deliver more content to you guys on a more frequent basis, and across a diverse number of games, because I do like to do that, and I play a lot of different games. I'm invested mostly right now in solo leveling because I want to hit some of this in-game content and unlock some of these things. But have at it, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Until next time, peace.